What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Harrison Graham here with another episode of the Chiefs Report. And on today's show, we are going to answer all of your questions, at least as many as we can get to. So use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat, and we will get your questions answered on the show. We start with our good pal, Tony Fuentes. I really hope Chris Jones returns. So let's clarify. Chris Jones is under contract for 2023. Unless Brett Veach trades him, which can't say never because he traded Tyreek Hill, but is very unlikely in this scenario. He's at least here for 2023. I think he gets extended before training camp. At least I hope he does. I have a good feeling that he does, but we just have to wait and see how this plays out. No panic, Tony. He's at least here for 2023. From Tim Carr, what rookie do you think will have the most impact this year? That's a good question. The Chiefs had an interesting draft where they kind of took some swings later on, like some guys with long-term potential like B.J. Thompson, for example. They took, Wanya Morris in the third round, who I don't think will have much of a role this year. It's got to be Felix Anudike-Uzomah or Rashee Rice. I'll say this, if the Chiefs don't add a receiver like Hopkins, I'll go Rashee Rice. If they do, that could kind of give Rice kind of a redshirt type of first season, and I'll go with Anudike-Uzomah. Will Anthony, Patrick, Bobby, outside of Mahomes, Kelce, and Jones, who is the most important Chief for 2023? I do think you've nailed it there with that big three of Mahomes, Kelce, and Chris Jones. I am going to say, gosh, this is a good one. I want to say it's one of the receivers. Is it Kadarius Toney? Is it Skyy Moore? Is it Marquez Valdez-Scantling? That would surprise me. I would say one of those guys, or I would go with L'Jarius Sneed in the secondary, just kind of the glue to that secondary that makes it all go. What say you, though? Cook up this question right back at you. Most important Chief outside of Mahomes, Kelce, and Jones for 2023. Who is it? Can't pick Mahomes, can't pick Kelce, can't pick Chris Jones. Let us know what you guys think. Cole Keller, I feel like the Chiefs either sign D-Hop or trade for Danielle Hunter. Yeah, a lot of Danielle Hunter smoke as well. It would be tough to do both. Could you make it work in your cap? Yeah, you could, but I don't think they would do two splashes like that. If I had to pick one, it'd be tough. From a fun standpoint, I'd rather have D-Hop, but from a just kind of complete the whole roster, Danielle Hunter probably helps you more, but it's tough to say. It'll be interesting to see if they pull the trigger on one of those moves. Jerome Bunkers, wonder if the Chiefs are waiting as long as they can to get D-Hop at a reasonable price. Not sure why otherwise. There could be a lot of reasons. Yeah, maybe they hope his price tag comes down. Maybe they are functioning where they need to get Chris Jones done first. There could be a lot of reasons. Maybe they're not interested. I don't know. I think there's got to be at least some level of interest, but it's hard to say for sure. There's a report out there that Tennessee has made an offer. I would love to know what that contract structure is, but we'll see. I think D-Hop is probably taking his time as well. Marley Cook, what do you think Chris Jones' extended contract will look like? Well, the projection I've been putting out there for a few weeks now is this. 3 years, $72 million, $24 per year, $55 guaranteed. I just think he's going to become at least the second highest paid defensive tackle. I don't think he'll top Aaron Jones or Aaron Donald at $32 million a year, but he's getting more than Jeffrey Simmons, in my opinion. Simmons is great. He's younger. I get that. But Jones is still only 29, and he was probably the biggest wrecking force for a defensive lineman last season. Shout out to Jay. If we didn't let go of or trade Chris Jones, could Arik Armstead be a possible replacement? If we did let go, he says. Maybe. Armstead, I'm guessing he's a free agent next year if you're mentioning him. I can look up his contract real quick, but let's be clear about a couple things. One, Arik Armstead is not nearly as good as Chris Jones. He's also kind of a tweener. He's like a 5-tech. So, he wouldn't be a bad recovery. Like if Chris Jones goes for like 25 a year for another team and Veach doesn't want to pay that, then Arik Armstead could be an option. So he can be cut. He's under contract through next year, but his cap hit's huge. He could get cut. I could see that. 15 a year for Arik Armstead? Maybe. We'll see. He had how many sacks? He only played 9 games last year, no sacks. He was hurt. So I got to see what he does next year. He was Good the 3 years prior, though. Ramen Noodle. Nice. You think Stefon Diggs goes to the Chargers? A, I don't think the Bills are trading him. B, would the Chargers be the team that makes the move? I mean, they have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and they drafted Quentin Johnston, who apparently has had a good offseason as a rookie. I just don't, unless the Chargers are sending back Williams or Keenan Allen, if there's some major friction where they just have to move them, maybe, but I also don't think the Chargers would be the team that pulls the trigger. Join our live mailbags just like this one every Monday. We film these live, so join the movement, subscribe, turn on notifications. 3 o'clock Central every Monday, we answer your questions, so don't miss out. Subscribe, turn on those noties. That way your phone will get notified every time we do go live. Carl is a Steven. More likely to break out, Kadarius Toney or Skyy Moore? I want to say Toney, but I'll be honest. Skyy Moore drew raver reviews during OTAs and minicamp. Now, it's OTAs and minicamp. It's May, June. Toney might just be one of those guys, too, where he's just a Sunday player. Like, I don't know if Kadarius Toney is ever going to be, like, the overachiever in practice type, but I do think his ceiling as a player is higher. But I loved Skyy Moore coming out. I thought he finished last year strong, and he's got an opportunity for a big role this year. What do you think? Better 2023 season? Type KT for Kadarius Toney. Type SM for Skyy Moore. I'll lean Toney, but I'm not convinced. It could go either way. From Vaughn, will we see Mahomes drop in production due to an increased emphasis on the run game, or will we remain pass heavy? Well, I think the notion that the Chiefs are just a pass heavy team is a bit exaggerated. They're just so efficient in it that it feels that way, and they get big plays, obviously. His production could drop a tick. I mean, he threw for over 5,000 yards last year. He could go for 4,700 or something. But I still expect him to throw for well over 30 touchdowns. 10 or less picks probably. So, yeah, I don't think the numbers are going to drastically shift one way or another. But, hey, maybe Pacheco's a 1,200-yard runner. We'll see. Juice Tan, 1587, biggest threat to the Chiefs next season. I think we talked about this on a video a while back, but I think in the AFC, I would still go the Bengals one. They've given the Chiefs the most trouble, obviously. I still have to consider Buffalo, but they haven't beaten the Chiefs in a playoff game. After that, in the AFC, I mean, is one of the West teams going to emerge this year? Is Denver going to do it? I don't really see that. Chargers are always a good team, but not really a threat to dethrone Kansas City. Baltimore, I mean, does OBJ and, that passing game with Lamar get going? We'll see. I think Philadelphia matches up well. So if they were to meet Kansas City in the Super Bowl, that could be tough again. We'll see. Christopher Gray, would you consider Toney as a number one receiver? I mean, I have him number one on the Chiefs depth chart, but if you're asking me, like if someone at a bar was like, hey, is Kadarius Toney a number one? I would say no. Like, he has not proven nearly enough to be that. Now, does he have the talent to be that? Yeah, he's explosive as hell. He's great after the catch. He's, silky as a route runner. He's got great speed, but he has not put that all together consistently at all. Now, I thought he kept his head down and went to work with the Chiefs after the trade. He made some big plays in the Super Bowl. We'll see. It's a big year for him to prove he can be that consistent dude. Jay, any chance we get Kyle Pitts if his value goes down after a few years? So you're not necessarily saying now, maybe like next year. Look, I loved him coming out. I'm still high on Pitts. I don't know what the hell happened in Atlanta last year. I think a couple of things. One, Marcus Mariota's not, like, if he's your starting quarterback, you're just not going to have a high-octane passing attack. So that's one thing. Desmond Ridder played late in the year. He was a rookie. So I'm still high on Pitts. Like, if you got him like a year or two from now to kind of be that Kelce successor, he's not as good of a blocker as Kelce. Not that Kelce's great in that department. He's just, decent. But Pitts would be fun here. He's a damn good receiving tight end. Cole Keller, do you think the Chiefs trade CEH? That chatter's quieted down a bit, but you know what chatter has increased? Deneric Prince. Jarrett McKinnon coming out, speaking high on him. His coaches hyping up the undrafted free agent running back. If he keeps performing, then CEH's roster spot becomes even that much more in jeopardy. All right, guys, appreciate all the questions. Lots of good ones there. If you have any more, hit me up on Twitter, @HGrahamNFL for more Chiefs questions. we can answer them over there. Appreciate all the love and support. It's at HGramNFL.